This is Shalandra, and you are in my kitchen. It is Sunday. I'm in North Carolina, and today we'll be making chuck steak smothered in brown gravy with potatoes. We also going to be having fried cabbage, cornbread, and some white rice. For starters, we're going to start with my chuck steak. I have the chuck steak already been cleaned and washed in my roaster pan. I just barely covered the steak in just water. It just barely covered in water. So what we're gonna do is I already have everything prepped and set up on my counter as we need it. I'm gonna try to move it so that you can see what I have set up. All right. I have an onion, one whole onion. And I'm gonna slice my onion and cut them in big cubes. It's really hot here. It's about 100 degrees outside, and but it's pretty cool in the house. I got the AC running, and I'm gonna just cut them in big chunks. So, and I'm gonna add it to my steak. What you just heard is my oven. I set it my oven at 400 degrees, and I'm gonna place my steak on the bottom rack with the lid on it. I already have pre-rinsed my vegetables. I have one green pepper and one red pepper. I'm going to clean the rib out of the green pepper and take out the membrane that's in the center of the green pepper. I'm going to also slice this in big slices. I'm going to also cut this into chunks. I'm going to add that into my steak. I'm going to use the whole green pepper. If you don't know, it's up to you. The cut of steak that I'm using is chuck steak. It's about maybe a ½ inch thick. The chuck steak, it got quite a good marble in it, and I have 4 of them placed in this pan. So 4 nice, about a ½ inch thick, 4 of them in my pan. I'm gonna cut the same size to the other half of the green pepper into nice chunks. I have like a garbage tray that I keep, so it'd be easy for me to just throw everything in the garbage when I'm finished. So I'm gonna move this out the way and move to my red pepper. Slice it in half. Clean out the center. Remove all the seeds. Put them in nice slices, and then cut them into chunks. Add this to the pan. Continue with the other half of the red pepper. I love cooking like this. Pretty much cut and dump. Cut and dump. I'll be right back. Let me get me a fork. I'm gonna move these around to make sure they just place evenly throughout the pan. Okay. This is where the seasonings come into play. Okay, you can use your choice of seasoning. To me, this is like perfect for me. I have 1 pack of Sazon. I'm gonna add this and spread it evenly around the pan. All I need is 1 pack. I have some seasoned salt, Lawry seasoned salt. I don't measure when I'm normally cooking in my home, but I go around the pan about 2 or 3 times. It's up to you on how you like it. I have accent. That's to wake up all the flavors that we're adding to this. And I do the same. I just sprinkle it, you know, into the pan. You can't go wrong with accent at all. And then I have this coarse ground black pepper that's made by McCormick. It's up to you. You can use your own kind of pepper, black pepper, white pepper. It's up to you. It doesn't really matter. Be careful with this because it can be really hot. So I'm not going to put as much black pepper because it's coarse and it can get really peppery. So that's all I'm going to use. Now, I know you're looking at this saying, what is this? This is actually soy sauce. I actually keep this bottles and bottles of this. Love this. If you don't have this, I have a condiment drawer where I have the soy sauces that comes from the restaurant. You can use these, which will take for this size about 3 packs of the soy sauce that come in it. Don't be scared. It's not going to taste Asian or Chinese or in that feel. Between all the flavors that you got going on in here, this just accents it. It's just going to bring out all the flavors. So I normally use this one. Pretty good. Open the bottle, got a pretty decent hole in it, and I'm going to just pour this around in my pan. This is like my go-to to my steak. And that is about it that goes for this moment for this steak. This is it. Just swish it around. And we is on our way to our steak and potato. This is my copper cast iron Dutch. This is like amazing. Amazing. I love this. I have the whole set. And I'm going to place this in the oven at the bottom rack. I think I might need to move my rack up. But yes, we're going to place this at the bottom. So that will be at 400 degrees. And we're going to cook this in the oven for about 2.5 hours at 400. You could check periodically, but you should not need to add no more liquid, no anything else. In about 2.5 hours, we're going to check it, and by then it should be ready to add the potatoes, and then we should start to thicken it. By then, I'll take you to the next step on how I make my southern fried cabbage. See you when I get back. Okay, I'm back. We're going back to our Sunday dinner. All right, we're gonna be starting our cabbage. I have some like 5 slices of thick cut bacon, and I have my pan that's right here. So what we're gonna start with, let me get me a paper towel. And I have a big, wide, pretty deep pan. I'll be right back. So we're gonna start with the bacon. I'm gonna set my front eye, and I'm gonna put it on high. And this can I store my bacon grease in. So somebody put that. Okay, I store my bacon grease in this. So you saying why use bacon grease if we're frying bacon? Trust me, this is where all the flavor is at. So I'm gonna just barely cover my pan with the bacon grease. This is flavor. We building flavor, layers. All right, my sharp knife, and I'm gonna cut them into nice thick sized chunks. into the pan. Let me get this out of the way. We no longer need this. I'm gonna wash my hands. We're gonna get down to cutting this cabbage. Okay, now we're gonna get to this cabbage. I'm gonna cut the cabbage up. I took a whole head of cabbage and I cut them into 4 wedges. And now I'm gonna cut on an angle to take the core out, to remove the core at the center. And I'm gonna place that on the side. We do not need that. And I'm gonna do it to all 4 of the wedges. Remove the core. And I'm gonna continue to do it until all 4 of the core is removed. And then now I'm gonna slice it into slices. Doesn't really matter how big the slices are. I try not to do them too thick because I want it to fry evenly. And if they are too big and some is too small, then some tends to cook a lot quicker than the others. So I try to cut them fairly around the same size. Okay, I'll get my utensils, move that around, put my vent on. Hopefully I'm going to have to talk a little louder so you can hear me because my bacon is now frying. This is what you want. You want to make sure that it gets a golden brown. Cut my cabbage. Okay, my bacon is pretty crispy, so now I'm going to start adding my cabbage. I already had pretty much rinsed. When I peeled my cabbage, I already had rinsed it and had it soaked in water when I had quartered it and had it sitting on my board to have it dry. So you pretty much want to try to let that happen ahead of time because it would make a big mess with the liquid and the water that's in the cabbage. So you really want to let that sit in the colander or your strainer or let it sit aside for a while and take a towel to let that dry a bit before you start frying. The most thing I love the most is cooking for my family. It's like the best thing ever. you know. I have 2 daughters, and I have a very large family, you know, with a family of 10. My dad had 5 girls and 5 boys, so she used to cook every Sunday. And after church, you know, her sisters and their family used to always gather to her house and used to entertain and, you know, and used to love my mom's cooking. So a lot of these recipes I got from her, but then as the years go on, you know, I added my own little thing to it and my own little touches as well. So, you know, she's still in there. A lot of it is still in there of what she had taught and what I have learned throughout the years. So, you know, to this day, my house is kind of the gathering spot where everybody loves to come and we meet and we eat and enjoy meals together still to this day, you know. So, if you don't know by now, I'm frying it in layers and I stir and then I add more cabbage on top so that the cabbage at the bottom as it's frying is not getting too dark, and then the new cabbage that I put on top, I get to toss and turn, you know, toss it as I'm frying it so that all of it tends to pretty much is all the same. I think this pan should be big enough for this, for all this cabbage that I actually have. So, we'll see. Let's see how this goes. So. At this point, I will start building layers and adding flavors. So I'm right back to my Lawry's Caesar salt. So I just add a little salt, Caesar salt on top. Got to have the crushed red peppers. So we're not doing black pepper, we're doing crushed peppers with this. Just a little bit on top. And then of course, we're gonna add our accent that wakes up the flavor. So you gotta understand we have that bacon grease and all that bacon that's in there, and then now we just building flavor and layers. So I'm gonna go ahead and just toss that. It smells so good in here. Yes. So you can just see the caramelization of this cabbage and how we're looking right now. Oh. Yes, yes, yes. And I get it tasty. Look at that brownness. I think this is going to be enough cabbage for now, so I'm going to just store the rest of this cabbage that I actually have in a Ziploc. Because I can always use this cabbage that I already cut up, I can refrigerate it, and it is stored for at least a week that's cut up. And I can actually add this to some collard greens. When I make collard greens, to make collard greens and cabbage. That'll be another dish that I'll show you. Very good and excellent. So, you will really enjoy it. So, that'll be hopefully my next video. I will show you how to make cabbage and collard greens mix. So I'm going to store this in my refrigerator. That's a lot of cabbage. I'll be right back. Okay, that can take long. Cabbage. more seasoned salt. And some more accent. And a little bit more fresh peppers. And that should do it. I don't know if you can see the color, but I'm going to show you how it actually looks. Okay. I don't know if you can see how the cabbage turned out. Oh yeah, it's not hot. See? Look at that. Look at that cabbage. And, oh, let me see if I can bring it a little closer without losing my angle. See that? I don't know if you can see that, but trust me. It's really good. Oh, look at that. Now for that juices, you want to add cup of water to let that steam. I'll be right back. Rest of my lid. That's right. So that you can. So it's not enough to do it. It's just enough to steam it down so it can finish cooking some of the rest, but still have that fried look and taste. And we're gonna put the lid on it, and we're gonna actually cook this for about 15 minutes, and we're gonna keep it on medium. We're gonna lower it to medium and let it cook for about 10 to 15 minutes, all depends, because we don't want it, we actually want it to cook the liquid that we just put in. We want to let that cook back out. So it's just to cook the cabbage a little tender. So I say about 10 to 15 minutes. Then you can check it. Pretty much you could just shut it off, because I like still a little bite to my cabbage. So see you back when we're ready to check our steak. Hello, I'm back. For those of you that is just joining in, we is making our Sunday dinner, and we have made fried cabbage, also have made steak with potatoes and thick brown gravy with some white rice and some cornbread on the side. Right now we're gonna take out our steak that been cooking for a little over 2 hours. This is some chuck steak, and we're gonna go with the next step, which is add the potatoes and add some gravy to it. Right here in the bowl, I have some white potatoes that I already had cut up, and I had sitting in some cold water. That'll just help from the potatoes from getting brown. So I'm gonna add that into my steak and the gravy, the juices from the steak. You see how that fork is hitting the bottom of that? That's just to let you know that the steak is really tender. So we're gonna put it back in the oven though, because we're gonna still cook for another 30 minutes or so to cook the potatoes and help thicken this gravy up. be right back. Okay, the next step is I'm going to take this cup and I'm going to fill it with this amount of water, liquid. Well, I'm going to actually add water. Okay, I have my fork and I have a couple of ingredients. If you know, we've been using some of these ingredients from the very beginning. We have Lawry's seasoned salt, we have accent, and I have 1 pack of Sazon. Okay, and this time we're gonna have some Banquet browning seasoning sauce. It's like a browning sauce to make gravy. Okay, my canisters right here, which is some flour. So I always keep like a measuring cup in here, but I'm just gonna add, like, if you want to use a measuring cup, this is a 1/4 measuring cup. You could use this, but me personally, I use a fork, and then I can tell you exactly how much to add to this. We're gonna add 1 fork, 2 forks, 3 forks of flour, self-rising flour. We're gonna stir this into water and try to stir until all the lumps. See how I'm just mashing it on the side of the cup, trying to get as much of those lumps that's in it out. You gotta understand that this flour and water have 0 taste at all. No seasoning, no nothing. This is seasoned, but this isn't. So when you add this to this, it's gonna taste bland and not much seasoning is gonna add to it because it's gonna take away from it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna season the flour and water mixture. A lot of people like to use cornstarch for their thickening agent. I doesn't use the cornstarch. I try to use some of the things that's already in your household and some of the things that you already have. So on that note, this is my flour and water that I done pretty much got all the lumps out, and I'm gonna add like 1 cap of my browning. If it's not a full cap, all depends on how much this is, but I'm probably would use a full cap because I want my gravy to be pretty dark. I hate me. I do not like light brown gravy, so this looks good to me. So I'm gonna sprinkle in a little seasoning because you gotta season up your gravy. So you don't want to add something bland into something that's seasoned. So add a little bit of Lawry's to it and just a little bit of the accent. And this pack of Sazon that I have here, we're not going to add the whole thing. So I tear it halfway, and I'm only going to use is half of this pack in this. So I'm shaking it until I think it's about half, and then I fold this because I can use this later. Maybe in another dish or something else that I might be cooking later. Okay, since I gotta add that Sazon to look a little light, it's like a beige color, so I'm gonna add just a little bit more of my browning. See, this is good when you cook like this. You can see, you can take away, add a little bit at a time as need be, and then you'll know exactly how you want it. This is the consistency and the color that I'm looking for. I don't know if you can see that, but okay, you see it in the fork, how it looks. Okay. Now I'm gonna take it and stir my gravy like this as I slowly add my browning sauce. We're gonna add the lid back to it. We're gonna lower our temperature from 400 to 350. And we're gonna let this cook for about 30 minutes till it's thickened and the potatoes are done. I'll see you in a few minutes. Hello, how are you doing? I'm back. I see that we was disconnected and when I was doing the final plating, and so I'm going to show you right now the final results of what we created together. This is what it looks like. I don't know if you can see how it looks. There we go. But okay. So hopefully yours came out and looked the same. I had a wonderful time with y'all today. I enjoyed my Sunday while you was in my kitchen and we experienced this time. I hope you enjoyed me as well. Hopefully we get to do this again. This was my first time and I hope to do many, many more. I enjoyed you. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Thank you for tuning in. And I also have a cookbook which you can find on my site that I came out with. It's called Nana Soul Food. Again, thank you. I really appreciate it and I hope you have a blessed Sunday. Thank you. Have a good night.